head teacher of a school of gentle protest, Sarah Corbett, and this lesson we're talking about intriguing activism, which might sound a bit strange because when you think of protest, often we think of demanding people to join our protest and demanding power holders to take action very specifically. So it's no war, no fracking, no sweatshops, very clear. But as you know, us human beings are quite stubborn and quite sensitive. So often we don't like being told what to do. It can be patronising. Even if we agree with what we're being told, we want to feel like we've decided to take that action. And if we decide that action, we engage more deeply, we're more committed to what we're doing, and we can feel more passionate about an issue. And today, our visiting lecturer, or professor, I'm going to say, of School of Gentle Protest, is a fashion designer, as well as co-founder and creative director of Fashion Revolution, Orsola de Castro. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for asking.
And I think Ursula's the perfect person to ask about how we can make activism more intriguing to attract in the public who with something exciting and intriguing, and also attract power holders that we want to work with and change these systems and structures that are complicated and often need a lot of time and commitment. Curiosity killed the cat, but I think curiosity can help our campaigning massively. So we're going to use Fashion Revolution as an example today. I think it's the best example of intrigue and activism. So the first thing to ask is, what is Fashion Revolution?
So Fashion Revolution is a global movement. We are now in nearly 100 countries. And it was born as a result of the Rana Plaza disaster. It is formed of a committed team of individuals. We've known each other for a long, long time. And we all felt when the Rana Plaza disaster happened, it was predictable, it was inevitable, and it was just one too many.
Tell me what the,
Well, it was the collapse of the Rana Plaza factory complex in Bangladesh, in which 1,138 people were killed and many, many more were injured. And workers, as we now know, were closed into the factory. They knew that the factory was perilous and working conditions were extreme, and this particular factory produced for some of the best known fashion brands. So Fashion Revolution was born pretty much on that day.
And what year was that, Ursula?
2013.
So not long ago.
Not long ago. So Carrie Summers, my other co-founder, called me and said, we've got to do something about it. And here we are.
And you've got to do something about it, because I've heard you speak about this before, about how angry and upsetting it was, and you've been doing this a few years now, and you're still so passionate and angry about that ugly side of the fashion industry. How did you not turn that anger into an angry protest, into a negative protest? Because your approach is so different to what we expect in protest. How did that come about?
We call ourselves a pro-fashion protest. Point is that we're all practitioners in the fashion industry, and we all want to talk about fashion in a positive way. We want to see fashion lead. Mm-hmm. So we also felt, there's plenty of others who are angry enough. Yeah. And we can potentially amplify that message. We're not anti-anger either, we are angry ourselves. Mm-hmm. But it's not our approach. In a sense, I like your word intriguing. We feel that if you're going to speak to an audience, you need to speak their language first. Mm-hmm. And we want to talk to the fashion audience, so we need to speak fashion. And this is where we all were brought up. This is what we all know. This is what we understand. And as a result, we felt that in order to be convincing, in order to be persuasive, mm-hmm. we had to be precisely intriguing. Mm-hmm. We had to find a different way to communicate, a way that didn't shame, that didn't blame, but that made individuals, academics, students, brands, influencers, governments potentially, mm-hmm. want to be a part of the solution.
So attracting them in. And that non-judgmental side, again, it's so hard for people. Often with activism, people do feel judged, and they either go, I don't want to hear it because you're judging me. So what's the action that you're most famous for that has spread. How many fashion revolution groups in the world?
As I said, I think we're kind of in between 95 to 98, you know. Well, our mantra is be curious, find out, do something, but we'll get back to that in the homework.
You heard that, homework.
What really spread was our question, which is, who made my clothes? Hashtag, who made my clothes? Which really ought to be a very, very simple question to answer, but we realise, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Brands don't know who makes their clothes. They don't know where their clothes are made. They don't know, you know, let alone where the materials may be dyed or spinned, and God forbid they know where the cotton's grown. So traceability is a huge issue in the fashion industry. The connections between the consumer to the makers is lost.
Yeah.
The industry is really wide open and very inefficient to a certain extent. Very, you know, this gigantification has somehow broken the journey of the supply chain. And this is what we want to do. We want to recreate those connections. We want people to know where our things are being made, because we believe that connecting to the individuals that make our clothes ultimately will imply that we have a different understanding of their lives, and that therefore we will somehow fight for them and ensure that there is better justice, ensure that they are better paid, ensure that they're working in decent and safe conditions.
And on a selfish note, it means you value your clothes more, because you know the story, you see the face on Instagram, you've got amazing pictures of people saying, I made your clothes. When people, you know, my jumpers are made from Shetland wool. My nan lives in Shetland, so it's really lovely if people say, I like your jumper, I can say, well, made with Shetland wool from this small company. And so it's win-win, which again, with protests, we often think of win-lose, competition, you've got to change and we're going to beat you, whereas again, fashion revolution is so much about celebration.
I think clothes need to tell a story, you know. I've said this so many times, you know, clothes are our chosen skin. So you can eat organic broccoli all day long, but no one will know that you've eaten them. But if you wear a design, or if you wear something which has an aesthetic of care, an aesthetic of sustainability, an aesthetic of you know, storytelling, then you are speaking your principles with the things that you wear. And so, I mean, personally, again, this comes from being a lover of fashion. I can talk about clothes all day long, you know, and I want to talk about clothes all day long. So therefore, it is important for me that clothes carry memories. Equally, it's very important for me, and I think most of our followers, that certainly clothes don't carry death. You know, the hands of the people that make our clothes, there is a chemistry, there is a relationship between those people directly to the clothes that we wear. Who wants to wear the indignity of a job that isn't recognised, or a job that isn't paid, or a job that is affected in a structure that is just about to collapse? You know, why don't we all want to wear something which is made with pride rather than made with suffering? And
with the hashtag Who Made My Clothes, it could be seen as quite transactional, quick, you know, clicktivism in a sense, or slacktivism, some say, as easy form of activism, but because it's that curious question, because it's asking that question, and you're asking someone to take a picture of their clothes and tag in the company and say, who made my clothes, it's not a quick, easy action, is it? It's very deeply engaging. How has that, what's the response you've had from your fashion revolutionaries around the world?
The response is huge. I mean, you know, just last April in 2016, for the week, we had 70,000 people asking who made my clothes. And our hashtag reach is something like 156 million impressions, so it's massive.
Your protest doesn't have to be this huge, students, don't worry.
No, but I think, you know, I don't want to sound, you know, we're not ingénue about this. I mean, you know, we understand that to a certain extent, of course, the accusation of slacktivism has some basis. You know, we are all sitting on our, you know, arses and playing on a mobile phone and making our voices heard. So I think it's a question of balance.
Yeah.
I think, of course, it's important to also offset this by doing offline events, by going into universities, by speaking to students, by creating things that really have, you know, a different side to just the online media. So it's again, a balancing act. I celebrate social media. You know, I'm a curious person, and by nature I'm an aggregator of people. So of course, for me, the idea that I can, you know, that we can put together so many people, that I can be heard by so many people, and that so many people, I can hear so many people back, is something that intrigues me
And
hugely.
social media is amazing. I see on Fashion Revolution Instagram, you regram a lot of people's tags that they've had. We do see the faces of garment workers who've made our clothes, and you'll say where they make them. So it is very much conversational. How does that work with power holders? So you've obviously attracted in a lot of fashion lovers, including me, which is very different to a lot of campaigns I've seen, which has been no sweatshops, quite anti-fashion, of fashion is bad, when actually it's a wonderful thing to express ourselves with. You've engaged lots of the public. How has this intriguing form of activism engaged with power holders, whether it's in the House of Commons, with politicians and with business leaders?
Well, we've been lucky that way. I mean, we have collaborated with the EU on their garment initiative. We have MEPs as well as MPs engaged in our message. And we've written to many power holders all over the world, and our teams, you know, our hubs, our global hubs, are certainly engaged in trying to speak as much as possible to their local governments or the people, you know, in power. And I think that power holders respond to the fact that we are a very powerful and very spontaneous voice. You know, power holders need to be powerful to their stakeholders, to the people, and that's exactly what we are. And I think that in that sense...
And is that because you're fashion lovers and you work in the fashion industry?
I think it's because we are many.
Okay.
You know, we are many, we are people, and everyone is responding to our message. So I think they've seen that and they've taken into account. The House of Commons is a wonderful initiative. We'll be doing it again this year for the third time. It's turning into a roadmap. It's called Fashion Question Time.
It's brilliant. I've been. It's brilliant.
It is. It's chaired by the wonderful Mary Cray, MP. And it is bringing together a whole load of stakeholders in power within the industry to really demand that certain questions are answered.
But it's so positive as well. I sat next to a woman quite high up in a fashion company that is not known to be very ethical at all. And we both came along out of our own time. We decided to come. No one forced us. Yeah. And we were both excited to say, what can we do in our roles?
Yes.
Which is very different to what I've seen with placards outside somewhere saying, shame on you for doing this. It was a very different experience.
Well, you know, first of all, you can't change what you don't see. So therefore, if you don't know what the brands are doing, then, you know, how the hell are you going to be affecting change? So therefore, if you don't communicate, if you don't engage with them, how are you going to understand which way to change?
So you've got to work with them and talk to them.
Work with them is a big word.
Oh yeah, no, good
okay?
point.
So talk to them is different.
Yeah.
And I think what's important is to understand that this is a massive industry. It employs something like 1 in 6, you know, people globally, directly or indirectly. It's the second most polluting industry in the world, and therefore it is not going to change overnight. What will change it will be dialogue, knowledge, understanding, and the younger generations, because potentially some of the older brands may be a little bit too far ahead to really turn around completely, and therefore it's a combination. We all need to join hands. Sustainability means collaboration first and foremost, and therefore in order to achieve collaboration you need to have dialogue, and you need to hear
ask those questions to start that dialogue. So asking those questions is a catalyst for change, hopefully.
Yes.
So what's the bit of homework that you can give our students to be more curious and more intriguing in their protests?
Well, my homework starts with our mantra, which is be curious, find out and do something. So maybe first of all you need to be curious about who you are and what kind of activism. Are you animal or plant? Are you social? Are you people? Or are you pollution? And I don't know, in my case, arts, literature, music, theatre, all of these things have an influence. So find out. The second one is find out. I went too fast. So after you've realized who you are, then go a little bit deeper. Find out who's writing, who's doing what voices, what they're saying. If you want to find a comprehensive reading list, we have a really good one on Fashion Revolution. So that's www.fashionrevolution.org.
We will link it in the description.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So there's books, there's magazines, there's film to watch. I think there are too many to actually list while here. And the third one is do something. So once you've known who you are, once you've found out who's doing what, then you do something yourself. And that could be something simple, some small action that you can take every day, to something huge, like starting your own mini revolution.
Mm-hmm. And in the description again, we will have an activity which includes these very cute little scrolls that you might find in pockets or put in pockets of clothes. So I'm going to leave you with that little intriguing comment and thank our visiting professor, Orsola de Castro, massively for helping us try and understand how to bring that intrigue and that curiosity into our protest.
And can I ask everyone, please join Fashion Revolution on the 24th to the 30th of April 2017, and don't forget to ask the brands #WhoMadeMyClothes.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Cool.